Welcome to Build Your Arsenal. Today we're looking at the Kel-Tec PMR 30, a polarizing pistol from a polarizing company. People either love them or hate them. Being from Kel-Tec, it's an unusual gun in both looks, feel, and function. The PMR 30 is a pistol chambered in .22 Magnum. It's a handgun that packs a whopping 3.0. I have to say it that way so I don't tip off YouTube's algorithms because of magazine capacity, but 3.0 rounds in each magazine. That's what initially captured my interest in owning one. I've had mine for a couple years now, so let's take a look through it and then determine if it's one to add to your arsenal or if there's a better option out there, specifically with the Walther WMP, or if this is just crap-tec from Kel-Tec. The PMR comes with two 3.0 round magazines, replacement front sight, fiber optic rods, and your manual. The majority of the PMR 30 is crafted from a very light and durable glass-reinforced nylon called Zytel. It's only 14 ounces unloaded, so it's incredibly lightweight. That makes it easy to put in a backpack or to carry if you're so inclined. The gun itself has high-vis fiber optic front and rear sights. The PMR only has rear serrations, which aren't the best since there's not much real estate to grasp since they're narrow. It does have a great 3 to 5 pound trigger with kind of a long reset. It is drilled and tapped for mounting an optic, has a manual safety. The grip is very wide front to back because of .22 Magnum, so that may be an issue for some, but it's thin otherwise and has kind of a triangular shape. The grip texture reminds me of a waffle. I don't know why. The ergonomics are kind of lacking on the PMR. The mag release is on the heel of the grip. Let's Fieldstrip the PMR and take a look inside. You're going to need to push out the assembly pin. I just used the base plate of the magazine for this, and you may need to sort of pry the pin out of yours if it's tight fitting like mine is. Again, I just used the magazine. Then glide the slide off the frame. It does have a captive recoil spring and it also has a buffer, so make sure not to lose that. You really have to compress the springs near the barrel block side to get the recoil spring assembly out. It's a little tricky to get it. Slide the barrel block fully forward and lift it out of the slide, and then you can remove the barrel. You get a 4.4 inch barrel. The PMR works on a hybrid blowback locked breech system. This is supposed to allow the PMR 30 to fire a variety of ammunition without sacrificing any reliability. It is also hammer fired. The action uses a urethane recoil buffer and dual opposing extractors, again for maximum reliability. To reassemble, we're going to put the barrel back into the slide. Place the barrel block into the slide rails through the cutouts at the front of the slide and push it back towards the extractors. Insert the buffer into the two slots for it in the front of the slide. The rounded edges need to point to the front of the slide. Make sure you put the recoil spring assembly back in the right way. Now put the slide back onto the frame and line up the assembly pinhole and put the pin back in. This is one of those I read the manual so you don't have to type of guns. Just a few things to highlight. The slide stop lever is not meant to act as a slide release. Use high power ammo only, bullet weights of 40 grain and up. Excessive dry firing is not recommended, and do not forget the buffer. Never fire the PMR without the buffer installed. So what's the verdict on the PMR 30? It's fun, but it can be frustrating. I don't think I would have been as patient with it except for having owned it. .22 Magnum is fun, but if .22 LR is finicky, this is just downright fussy. In my experience, it has a break-in period, and you definitely need to pay attention to how you load the magazine with the PMR 30. Once I got the hang of it, I've been absolutely fine. I will note that there are apparently mag loaders that work really well, too, for the PMR to avoid rim lock and issues with their magazines. Incarbo makes several aftermarket parts and upgrades, so you may want to check that out, especially if you're having any issues. Even with the few issues I've had with the PMR 30, it's definitely a fun gun to have at the range. Plus, Kel-Tec is USA owned, made, and uses USA parts. Lastly, Kel-Tec has the CMR 30 if you want a carbine that uses the same magazines. But with the Walther WMP out there, would I still get the Kel-Tec PMR if I had it to do all over again? With the WMP, which I can't help but read as WIMP, you have ammo recommendations from Walther the same way you do with the PMR that you'll need to pay attention to if you're looking for reliability. You have a significant weight difference between the two. The WMP is almost twice the weight at 27.8 ounces unloaded versus 14 ounces with the PMR. So if it's a backpack gun, you might care about that. The Walther comes optic ready with 2 plates. No additional parts are needed. That's not the case with the PMR. That's a nice advantage to the Walther. You have lots of choices with the mag release on the Walther with ambi buttons and paddles. It has better ergonomics since it's designed more like traditional pistols. It's easier to Fieldstrip. Then lastly, you have the 15 round versus the 30 round magazine. Ultimately, I don't think you can go wrong either way. I'm glad to see the Walther WMP out there for another option in the 22 mag pistol space. With the PMR, you may have some issues, so it's good to know that up front. Thankfully, mine has been acceptable in that regard as a range gun. You definitely need to have one in your arsenal, though. 22 mag is absolutely awesome. It's a fire-breathing round. You'll feel like you're handling something much more substantial with that loud bang, and that's why it's in my arsenal. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.